Good morning, everyone. This is Lee Andrews, Shyamala Prayaga, and again, Adam Willicott joining us today for Voice Chat Friday, a time that we can ask Shyamala, the lead designer for Ford's autonomous vehicles. She focuses on the conversational AI design. Also, she is the CEO and founder of the Digital Assistant Academy, which trains exceptional candidates to become superior conversational AI designers. And Adam is one of those students, and he is about close to graduation, aren't you, Adam? How close are you?
Yeah, I'd say I've got another probably 3 to 4 weeks left.
Wow.
All things going well.
Okay. One of the things that, so I help her graduates get placed and get into the market space. And one of the things that I noticed, I've been looking at other boot camps and training programs, and they're not going in as much depth, I think, with the graduates on how to get opportunities and how to position themselves and all that stuff. Would you say that's true, Shyamala and Adam, from what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely add that because I have been part of some of the boot camps, just from the curriculum and also from the mentoring standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole goal of those boot camps are churning, graduates. That's it. They, worry or they care about the quantity and not the quality. And the moment you have like too many people you want to register, like in a specific cohort you would have like 50, 60, or maybe 100, 200 people.
Wow.
With that number, they cannot focus individually on each and every one and say like, we are going to help you with your job. They have career coaches, they have mentors who are going to help. But like I mentioned earlier, the moment you have a mentor and they are told like you'll be given X dollars for 30 minutes of call, mentors start to see this as money making machine more than definitely need to care and make sure like to hone the
Right.
skill sets of the individual. So overall what happens is because of that neither the job or those skill sets are being polished as much, and it's just like, okay, you're on your own. We are going to get you into the program, you have a mentor, you talk to them, blah blah blah, and all of those things. But no program actually goes to the extent where they help with mock interviews, or they help with resume building, or getting to the stage of working on the non-functional skills, which I always say is equally important as the functional skills for doing a job.
Yeah, I felt a little bad for Adam the other day when he did his mock interview. Yeah, he wasn't given any grace whatsoever. So let's talk about some of the questions. So today's conversation is really around the questions that any candidate can expect, especially if they're going after a conversational AI design role. So one of the questions that I also want to talk about inappropriate questions here for a moment, because I get a lot of this with the people that I coach and mentor, and they're being asked questions that are way off base. And so that can range anywhere from, a blatant discrimination against age. I have one client who says to me, I was asked if I could keep up with the pace. And she is in her 50s, and how do you respond to that? So I do want to answer that. I want to start there because the rest of the questions are easy. Once you get past those kinds of questions that are blatantly inappropriate. So and Shyamala and Adam, I want your feedback on this, but according, my opinion is you address it directly. So the question, then I would turn it around and challenge that hiring manager and say, please explain to me what you mean by keeping up. What about me, or what about what I've said makes you curious whether or not I can keep up? And so you're turning the table, and they have to justify that question to you. 99.9 times out of 100, you are not going to get the job at that point if you do that. So you need to be ready for that, right? So you can either go in and explain how you can keep up and justify it, which if they're asking you that question, their biases are already in place and they've likely made up their mind anyway. Or you can do what I do and say, help me understand what you're actually asking me. What do you think about that, Adam? So if somebody tells you, because you're new on the scene, right? And if I throw you into an agency that's really fast paced and these people are really smart and they really know what they're doing, how are you going to be able to keep up? That tells me that that's another bias, that you don't know what you're doing, that you're incapable of keeping up because you don't know enough. How would you answer that?
And that was the spin I was going to say. I was going to be like, it can work both ways, like kind of age, kind of older and age younger with more experience or less experience. So that's what I was going to sort of put in as well. And it was kind of like, well, for me as kind of career transitioning into this area, I'd need to sort of answer it by showing what can I give the company. And although I would kind of may not have the maybe the business experience within actual sort of clients and stuff, I've had 6-7 months worth of learning through this course, and been able to actually convert it around and kind of convert the question into my what I can give the company. And well, I feel like that's kind of the sort of thing, and focus it more around my benefits I can give rather than what can I not give.
So Adam, would you feel comfortable kind of throwing out a name of who you've been trained by and who you've been mentored by and the 3 projects that you had to turn around inside 3 months or 6 months or 7 months, however long it took? Do you feel comfortable doing that?
What, in an interview or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of I'd be comfortable because I'm pleased and proud of the background that I've got. So I think that I need to show that and not be worried about that, because I'm confident and I know that the support that I've had over the past sort of 6 months, plus my previous backgrounds, and I know what I can do. I know what my strengths are. I know what bits I can improve. But at the same time, I'm transitioning into this new area and I want to show I'm committed. So basically I want to focus around the stuff that I've done. So the 3 capstone projects that I've done and what I've predominantly worked on.
Okay. So I would suggest saying to that interviewer, you know what, for the past 6 months, I have been under Shyamala Prayaga. Do you know her by any chance? And they'll go, no, I don't know her. And then you say, well, she's the lead conversational AI designer for Ford's autonomous vehicle line. And it just so happens that I've been under her thumb for the past 6 or 7 months, learning how to do what she does. And in that time, I've turned out 3 projects that got her approval. So I think I'm fairly well capable of keeping up. I mean, I would put it out. I would do that. Would you feel comfortable doing that, Adam?
Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds good to me.
Shyamala is laughing.
Oh my God, Lee.
What would you say? I mean, Shyamala, I mean, let's face the fact. I mean, you are a fast-paced, determined, directive-oriented person. I've worked with you now, and I know that you get stuff done. And to get stuff done at the quality and level that you deliver, you're pretty demanding, right? So if you're a student of yours, if I'm a student of yours, you're not going to let me slide, because you know that I am going to be an extension of your brand in the marketplace. So you're going to be, and you have been, harder on these students than I think you even would be of the employees that report to you because of that. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I would definitely say that,
Now that you hear it, it sounds more real, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I do all the things, but I mean, it's part of my personality. That's how I see. But I mean, it's good to see how others perceive it. So
yeah, I think so.
Definitely. So the reason why, the capstones and the activities and the exercises are challenging is exactly for the very same reason. So they learn to juggle between different projects. They learn to juggle between, all the different things what they will have to do, but also gain the right kind of knowledge. right? Which is required. So definitely, yeah. I mean, if those things are helping you, why not?
Good. So let's ask some questions now. So another question that is previously asked, or that is usually asked, is what have you done on previous projects? So they'll look over your resume and they'll say, tell me about some projects that you did at XYZ company. What is a good answer to you, Shyamala? What are some of the key things that you're looking for in that answer?
So what was the impact? What have you done? Because see, everyone will have a past project and there will be many. I have got this question in a slightly different variant, like, tell me about a project which you are proud of, okay, from your previous project. So first of all, what was the impact? What was your role? How challenging was the problem, and how did you sort it out and solve it? That is what I will be looking for, because anyone can work on project. If you are looking at conversation design, yeah, conversation design now anyone can do. Or if you're looking at UX design, anyone can design the interaction design if they have the right kind of thing, right? You can just create wireframes and all. But did your wireframe help reduce the number of steps? Did it optimize the experience? Did it reduce the cost to the company? Or what did it do to the company which is beneficial, right? And that is what I would be looking for when I'm looking for asking such a question.
Wow. Adam, how do you answer that as a student? That's a tough question to ask. So
Yep.
do you go with what you did in the school, or do you go with a previous job?
I think it depends. It depends on I'd say the actual job you're going for. I'd say if you want to understand the storytelling and the actual data, because currently I'm at the moment I'm going through the sort of analytics and data side on one of my portfolio projects. So at the moment I don't have the data. But when I do have that, I'd probably mention that, because then I can say, okay, so what impact has it had? But from my experience, I have sort of data from a previous project from my old job, which I could talk about. So I could talk about the storytelling, how as Shyamala said, like what I did, what was the sort of the business impact, and the processes I went through, who I dealt with, and what sort of personalities that I've worked with, and basically, just the whole storytelling aspect from start to finish, and what your role was really.
Cool. So here's another question that Adam recently received. And Adam, you've been actively interviewing, correct?
Yes.
And these are some of the questions that you've been asked. So before we even get to this question, I'm going to take this off the screen. Overall, with the interviews that you have participated in at these companies, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to refer other people in general to the companies that you've interviewed with?
What do you mean in terms of?
I want to know what your experience has been overall, your interview experience. What you're feeling when you walk away from those interviews. Would you recommend that other people interview with those that you met with?
Well, from my experience, I've had a number of sort of interviews, and I feel like some of the interviews have gone quite well. I'm sort of waiting on a couple, but I've obviously been declined for a couple as well. But I've also found that I've had sort of good experiences actually in the interview. I feel like I've understood their personality. I've kind of interviewed with the HR recruiters, plus then their hiring managers and compensation design managers. So I've been able to sort of identify sort of each personality, and especially in the kind of conversation design manager, is because I'll be working sort of under them within their leadership. So also it's important for me to find out, do I connect with them, or would I work with them?
So hold that thought for just a second.
Yep.
What do you mean that you've been able to understand their personality? What are you looking for as a candidate?
I think the right cultural fit, really.
What does that mean? Give me specifics. What is a right fit for you?
How they treat other sort of team members, how they collaborate with each other, what help do they give? Because transitioning into this new career, I know that I don't know everything. So I know that I've got confidence in my abilities that I've learned so far, and I'm confident that I'll be able to do the jobs that I've applied to. But it's kind of continuing to upgrade my skill set and upgrade my knowledge. So being able to have a manager that and a team that I can sort of bounce ideas, learn from, and have that continual learning, which for me is important.
Interesting. So this is the most elusive part of what most people struggle with, is understanding the fit. So how do you know, what kind of questions gets to these fit factors for you? What kind of questions do you ask?
I'd say, well, especially within this world at the moment, it's quite remote. There's quite a lot of remote jobs. So one of the questions that I'd ask is, how do you incorporate the team within a remote environment? What's on the agenda in the future, and what would I expect? Because it can be quite, when you're working at home on your own, it can be quite sort of, well, on your own. So to be able to know that you've still got your team around you is important. So one of the questions I'd ask is, how would you build that sort of teamwork into the sort of criteria and into the working week, really?
I love that question. I think that if you're a candidate in any position, this is a really good question to ask. So yeah, thank you for that. So let's go back to tell me about yourself. What do you say when, what do you ask this question, Shyamala? Tell me about yourself.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. But
what do you hope to get out of it?
I'm hoping to get your background and what you have done. I mean, basically, right, some people like to talk a lot, but basically, I'm looking at a lot of things when I'm asking this thing. First thing is, okay, I come from this background. This is I did my engineering and blah, blah, blah. And then I worked in XYZ companies. And, if during those companies, were there anything, for example, if someone asks me this question, my answer is like, I come from a civil engineering background, and then I did architecture for a while, and then I moved into, user experience and design, worked with XYZ companies. Early in 2006 or 7, I transitioned into mobile application design because I like cutting edge technology. And then from there, I moved into Amazon and slowly got experience into voice experience design. And currently I'm working here at Ford, doing voice interaction design and stuff like that. So with this, not only I'm telling like my path, like how did I get where I am today, but I'm also telling you, all my key things. Like I like being in the cutting edge technology. I'm always doing, the right kind of things. I worked in mobile web desktop-based applications. That's how I talk about. So, not only telling your background, but also telling your skill sets or, summary of your resume, which will attract or which they want to listen to.
Okay. Adam, what do you say when you ask that question, when you're asked that question?
Well, I tried to say everything that Shyamala said, really. But I'd obviously, for me, I'd kind of tell my personal background in my career.
I want to know exactly what you would say. So Shyamala is interviewing you right now, and she is saying, "Tell me about yourself, Adam." What do you say? Nothing like being on the spot, right?
Exactly. Well, I'd say, well, I'm a sort of a voice interaction and conversational design student, and I've been working in this for the past 6 or 7 months. I'm career transitioning from the audio and sound design, audio production background, where I worked for a English soccer team for nearly 3 years, before moving to Montreal in Canada, to live with my girlfriend, and I'm looking to pursue my career in conversation design and voice interaction design.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask, when I hear that question, tell me about yourself. Again, I either get up and walk out because to me, that question is like nails on a chalkboard. It's not a question. And it is a question that as DEI experts, we are trying very, very hard to steer away because that actually brings out a lot of biases. So what we were suggesting is that how did you come to where you are today? So that actually says, how did you get in front of me today? What is it about your background that got you here today? So now you're trying to be very specific, and exactly what you said, Adam, is exactly what you say. That's perfect. That was flawless. Absolutely flawless. So if you are asked, tell me about yourself, the 3 things that people like Shyamala are looking for is what got you in front of her today, meaning your work history, what you enjoy doing, and what you want to do in the future. And that's exactly those 3 key points that Adam said today. Hi, Isaac. Nice to have you here. Hopefully you're getting some good information out of today. Thanks for joining us. So another question that we have that Adam gets a lot is, why do you want to work here? That's actually a toughie. So it's actually, I think, harder than tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work here? And what are you looking for with that question, Shyamala?
Again, like the cultural fit thing, right? What Adam was talking about. So why do you want to work here? It's not just about the skill sets. Like many people I see will be like justifying, like proving themselves, like, no, I have the right skill sets, blah blah blah, to work here, and all of those, right? But I'm looking for like what. So there are 2 things, right? Many people are looking for job at this point, so they will be like, okay, just applying randomly, right? And some people are very wise to choose which company they want to work with. So are you the second person, the second type of person who has done their homework and they realize, like, you know what, for example, okay, I love automotive and I love designing cars, and voice design in car is the best thing to do, and that excites me, and that is why I want to work here, right? Something which you are really, you really care about. So you have to really, put it into the way. No matter how you are answering, your passion should come out, your skill set should come out, your willingness should come out, everything should come out when you're talking about something like this. And it's not just like, okay, I deserve this job, or I have the right kind of skill sets to work here, that is why I want to work here. And I've heard those kind of answers, by the way.
And so what you're really looking for, like you said early on, is fit. So fit really seems to be the key thing. So there's 3 types of questions that a hiring manager will ask you. Can you do the job? Will you do the job? And then will you fit into their environment, on their team, within their company, what have you? And so you're saying that these questions are critical to determine if a person's going to fit in your organization, within your team.
Yes, absolutely. Right?
Have you ever declined? What would make you decline a candidate if they answered this question off the mark? What would off the mark be?
If someone is just trying to justify themselves, I would say no, because the moment you start justifying, I have the right kind of skill sets to do this job, and I blah blah blah, or you are just putting like your skill sets in front every time to justify yourself. That means you will justify yourself for the rest of your life when you're working with this company, and you will not be a cultural fit. You'll try to fit into the company. So I will look for the passion, I will look for the dedication. I have the skills. I don't come from an automotive background, but yeah, I can learn. Once I got a job without having any experience in mobile, my journey was like, I went, the company asked me this question, and I'm like, yeah, mobile is the cutting edge technology and love to work in the mobile thing. And your company is a pioneer doing mobile application design. So I'll be really curious to work here. So this person asks me, like, but you don't have any experience working on mobile application designs. So why should we hire you? I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to design mobile application design, but I come from a user experience design background, and I have designed interactions for desktop-based applications, for websites and all. So how hard it would be for me to learn interaction design for another modality? That was my answer. That's it. And they asked me to wait outside, and 5 minutes later, I had the offer in hand. So you need to know how you can turn around your answers and how you can put your skill sets in front, not able to justify like, no, 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 I will do my best. I will work 24/7 to learn the skill sets. No. So you need to really be smart here.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like what we did is articulated your transferable skills. That's the key, is how you articulate your transferable skills. Not just saying that I can do it, but I have done it and I can do it again in this modality. That's a tough one. Adam, what might you say with that very same question? Why do you want to work here?
I'd say it's kind of like what you put on the screen is kind of like, know that you've done the research on the company and work out the mission of the actual of the overall mission of the company. And yeah, you're right with how do you fit in with that. And as Shyamala said, it's kind of like the passion within the voice industry, learning about the conversation design aspect, and really kind of bring out your passion, bring out sort of why you want to work for them, but also why you want to work in the industry, because it is an upcoming industry, and it's a very exciting industry as well. So to be able to bring out that passion, that enthusiasm, which is sort of what I try and sort of answer that question within the sort of showing that I've done my research within the company as well.
Excellent. And so what would impress you, Shyamala? I'm taking notes here. What would impress you, Shyamala, that somebody knew about Ford's autonomous line in this specific space? If I were to interview with you for a position as a conversational AI designer, what would just blow your mind away if I said something about the organization or the people?
I mean, not specifically about the organization, because again, there's a very thin line. People will do their homework, they'll come, they will boast the company. Oh, I love Amazon. Amazon is great, blah, blah, blah. And blah. Again, that's not the right mindset I'm looking for. And if someone comes and says like, okay, the company is great, blah, 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 you're trying to butter me. And I'm not going to,
no butter.
So yeah, so that's not what I'm looking for. Be genuine. Tell me what your skill sets are, what you can bring to the table. I like doing that by giving them problems and seeing if they are a fit. So when I give them like random design exercises just to see how their thought process is, because when you are put on spot and you have like a couple of minutes to come up with a solution, how are you doing things? Can you handle pressure?
Wait a minute, Shyamala, you're giving them a design challenge right in the interview. You're giving them a problem right in the interview. Wow.
I do that because I feel like there are two kinds of people. One, like I mentioned, who talk a lot, and with their talk, they can convince anyone. And, the other kind of people they are not good at articulation. Articulation is very important. But when I say articulation, I mean like they're not good at talking and convincing people, or, like making friends kind of thing, right? They cannot just. So now, the first kind of people, what they'll do is when they are talking, they will just talk all the fancy stuffs, and then you'll be like, wow, this is amazing and great, and all of those things. And the other kind of people will be left out. But if you give them a design exercise, 2 minutes or 10 minutes, okay, I give them exercises which is completely out of the context. I ask them like, you need to redesign a swimming pool, tell me how would you go about it. Now, this is nothing to do with designing a car or a conversation design or a user experience design like a website. But then how are you thinking? Are you thinking about the right points, or are you just jumping into it? So I really look at those kind of things like, okay, are you asking me the right questions? And then how are you solving for it? I have had people who would just say like, okay, redesign the swimming pool. It's very easy. Like I would just have this blah, blah, blah. And, I will have the swimming pool here. But there are people who would ask me, and I have seen this happening, like, people who have the right kind of mindset would ask me, okay, what is the swimming pool for? Is it for a resort, or is it for a fun place, or what is it for? What is the budget? What is the timeline? Why are we redesigning it? Asking the right questions. That is what is important. And these you will not get with just these, functional, non-functional questions like how do you get there, or things like that. Those are important, but the design exercises will get the reality out of a person and the skills.
Okay. Wow. Okay. This was a lot to take in, and we are at our 30-minute point. If anybody has any questions beyond this call, please post your questions here in the comments on either YouTube or LinkedIn is where you're going to see this recording housed. And Shyamala, Adam, or I'll be happy to respond to you. I also want to let you know that Brett Kinsella will be with us next Friday on Voice Chat Friday. He is a who's who of conversational AI design in the voice industry itself, a leader, a thought leader, and practitioner. So I hope to see you guys then. In the meantime, ask smart questions, you will get smart answers. So that is the challenge that I give to all hiring managers. I love Shyamala's questions on how would you go about designing a swimming pool? That's a toughie, right? So that'll get to a lot. Adam, good luck to you. We won't be seeing you live next week until you graduate. And then we hope to hear how you're doing in your career search and your job search. So we'll be in touch. Everybody else, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for joining Voice Chat Friday.
Bye.